But if you're going to like Ross, Burlington, TJ Maxx, those kinds of stores, that's where you want your double up, at least a double up, no matter the price.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Reseller's Journey. Here is your host, eBay Joey.
Welcome to A Reseller's Journey, Season 2. I am your host, eBay Joey. Today's guest is a seasoned reseller. He has over 125 items listed on eBay store with over 1,100 in feedback. You can find him on Instagram posting all of his finds from his local market and when he's out of town. He goes by the name TheDapperFanatic, but his neighbors call him Rob. Welcome, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Joey. Glad to be here. I'm pretty excited and also nervous.
It's all right, man. I remember when I did the first couple episodes and the nerves were there, man, the butterflies, but I think the good thing is we don't have a live audience.
Well, I mean, you are worldwide now. You're doing interviews in Germany, and you probably got listeners in Australia or Brazil, and all over the world.
Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. I'm kind of happy that you brought that up because the Spotify numbers, man, there's been some response in the UK, Germany, obviously a Harry Tornado, got a couple people from Mexico, Australia. So just really honored that, people are really enjoying the reseller's journey.
Yeah. You're doing a good job so far.
I appreciate it. I think one thing that, the feedback that I get from people is that they get to hear a different perspective of a reseller. And I know right now we're mainly focusing on resellers that sell sneakers, but you get to hear people's different business models, how they approach, how they source, things like that. And hopefully, it's very helpful and it just continues to grow.
Yeah, good.
Awesome. Well, I think people are going to be excited. I'm excited to hear your reseller's journey. So let's get started.
Okay.
How did you come up with your name, TheDapperFanatic?
Well, originally I wanted to sell like sports jerseys and apparel, that kind of stuff, but also like higher end dress clothes and stuff like that. And I got to thinking, what would be a catchy name, something like that. And the Fanatic, shorten that up, and that's fan. So there's all the sports apparel and jerseys and stuff like that. And you want to look good when you're wearing that kind of stuff. You want to feel good with what you're wearing, and I want to sell people stuff that they feel good wearing. So Dapper, my main market is probably men's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the definition of dapper? Basically, it's a handsome gentleman, someone that's stylish. Go back to the 1960s or the 1950s. It's guys wearing like three-piece suits and stuff like that. So I envisioned someone wearing a three-piece suit, but underneath having like a soccer jersey.
Okay. Yeah, so there was some thought and some marketing into that. And then how did the logo come into play with the TheDapperFanatic?
I don't know. I mean, the TheDapperFanatic, I wanted it to be like, style and sport. So I wanted something stylish. So I picked like a vest with a little bow tie. And then something sport, there's a little image of a soccer jersey right next to it.
Awesome.
Colors,
and I noticed,
I was going to say the colors, I just wanted something to pop on Instagram and be memorable, basically.
Yeah, I think the logo does help out. I had a buddy create a logo for me, and it just gives you some branding. It just kind of separates you from a lot of people. And, some people see the value and some don't, but I do appreciate it. And, we're talking about jerseys, and there's a jersey right behind you.
Yeah.
Can you tell the people that, can't see it on the podcast, but whose jersey is that?
Yeah, so I have a D'Angelo Hall Redskins jersey. It's in a frame behind me on the wall. He that was a game the Redskins came here to Pittsburgh. I'm Pittsburgh local here. This is probably 6 years ago they played here, and I was at the game. D'Angelo Hall actually got ejected from the game. It was a rainy day. I think it was late in the fourth quarter. Something happened on the field. He got a personal foul. He actually, I think, spit on the ref and got ejected from that game. And I wanted something, besides the ticket stub to remember the game. And there's a website called MyGray, MEIGRAY, that sells NFL game worn jerseys. And I knew that they handled the Redskins. So I went on there a few weeks after the game. I wanted to make sure I could at least get something. His was on there. I paid up for it. You can tell it's game worn. It smells. It was not washed. There's grass stains on it. There's definitely sweat still in there. It's been in that frame for probably 6 years now. I haven't touched it.
Yeah, it's a nice jersey. So the people that are, listening via podcast, they might want to take a look on the YouTube just to see, what it looks like on the wall. So are you a Redskins fan? Or are you a
I am.
Steelers fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Redskins fan.
Okay.
Sad.
Tough year this year, but this is not a football podcast, so we'll go ahead and skip that one.
Yeah.
So you did kind of mention it a little earlier, telling us about this jersey, but where are you based out of?
I'm about 20 miles north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And then what are some of the neighbor states around you?
Well, Ohio. Ohio is probably about if a straight shot as the crow flies, it's probably 30, 45 minutes west. West Virginia, I think it's about an hour south, maybe an hour and a half to like the Weirton, West Virginia area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other states, or that's pretty much it?
I mean, New York is north of us. New Jersey's east of us.
Okay.
It's
So
just
the people get it. The people get a good idea where you're at. So were you born and raised near the Pittsburgh area?
No, actually, I'm from eastern Pennsylvania, out in the Lehigh Valley, Allentown, PA, is where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing this full time or part time?
I'm a part-time reseller. I have a full-time occupation.
Yeah. So what do you do full time for a living?
I am a payroll manager for a manufacturing company.
Okay, I work for a
So
manufacturing company.
yeah, so that's I'm within the HR department, human resources. So I do a lot with that kind of stuff, and then obviously payroll.
Yeah. You did mention the payroll aspect. Has any of that helped you with your reselling business?
Um, Not directly, I guess. It's more kind of like character traits. You definitely have to be organized. You gotta pay attention to detail. Um, Gotta be accurate in your listings, that kind of stuff. Um, the organization is going to go a long way as far as your inventory goes and your paperwork, keeping the receipts. I scan all of my receipts that I get from the stores, and if you talk to any sort of payroll person, if you have a payroll department, know anyone that's in payroll, they're going to tell you they don't throw out any paper at all. You need that backup documentation just in case, you know, 2 years down the road, an audit comes calling from the government, and hey, all right, right here in this filing cabinet. Yep, I got it for you.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I have a corporate American Express card for work, and they want every receipt. I can go to
Yeah,
Staples, print something, spend 28 cents. It's like,
yeah,
Joseph, where's your receipt for this? We need to know, what you're spending our money on. So I
yeah.
can
They're gonna
completely
deny it.
understand. Yeah, I like the feature that Burlington is currently doing, where they have a loyalty program and you can email your receipts. And I think Marshalls have started this as well. But
Mm,
it does help out, especially as you scale your business, or some people might say you level up. It's
yeah,
important that you do have a system, you're organized, and you're keeping all this stuff. And whether you have a business license or LLC, or you're just doing it on the side, it's good to have everything for at least minimum 2 years, in my opinion.
yeah. And the Nike app, like if you're a Nike Plus member, they also email you the receipt
Mhm.
too. And then obviously any sort of online arbitrage, you get the email order confirmation that can serve as a receipt because that usually has the all the purchase information and taxes and all that kind of stuff on there too.
Nice. Since we're talking about organization, and I think in reselling, it's not you just go to a store, you buy the product because it's worth resale value, but I think there's different tools that you need in your toolbox to be successful. Can you talk about some of the organization aspect of reselling that is key?
Yeah, I would say it's hands down going to be your inventory control. You know, I have a system. I bought 4 different shelving units, and so I have those set up. I also have a clothes rack on wheels for some of the heavy jackets and stuff like that. Um, and then I have a desk downstairs that I do all kind of stuff on it with the organization and pictures and stuff like that. But with the shelves, like I got bin numbers. I got the shelves are numbered 1 through 4. You know, top, middle, bottom. It kind of goes hand in hand with um, if you use eBay. There's a feature for sellers called the custom SKU.
Hmm.
I use it for my inventory stuff.
Oh,
So
nice.
I in that little section, and that's only visible to the seller itself. Like the buyers can't see your custom SKU. So I put um, the date that I purchased an item. I put the location, like what shelf it's on. You know, is it on the top shelf, middle shelf, bottom, um, shelf 1 through 4. You know, I have all the men's basketball shoes on shelf 1. On the second one, I might have like running shoes or casual shoes. Third, you know, it's more like the soccer cleats or football cleats, that kind of stuff. And then youth and women's shoes are on the last one. So, I mean, I also include the purchase price of the item that I bought as part of my custom SKU too. So, I mean, that once I wasn't using custom SKUs at first, whenever I first restarted selling. Um, Once I found out about it, it's so easy, and it's so easy to reference. Like when you get a best offer, and you're like, "Oh, should I accept that? I don't remember how much I paid." Just quickly go into your eBay app. You could either open up the item or do like a revise your listing, because you could still technically open up revise listing even though you have
Mhm.
an open offer, and you could scroll down to the custom SKU section, see how much you paid for it, and then go back to the offer and decide, you know, should you accept or should you counter.
Yeah, no, that's very smart. I do something very similar to what you do, but mine's on the Excel spreadsheet where I kind of assign a location for it.
Yeah.
And then since I've moved, I'm in, my new home and new area, I was able to organize my inventory, and I did something very similar to you. I have a small black rack, but I put soccer cleats with soccer cleats. I put my golf cleats or golf shoes with the golf shoes, and just kind of separate each category. Because
Yeah.
for me, being married, having 2 little ones, like every moment, every minute is valuable. And in manufacturing, and you might know this as well because you work for a manufacturer, but we count the steps that an employee takes doing their job in their cell,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we try to minimize it, and they call those events kaizen, or there's like a mini kaizen. And I've been able to do that with my business, or and it's helped me. But by you mentioning this is just one more step closer to just streamline the process.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you
as I
Yeah,
scale up, maybe I'll get more shelves or something like that, but the inventory process should stay relatively similar, and it's basically streamlined at this point. Like I know exactly where to go to find this item. I'm not searching through a huge box, or there's not like a big pile on a couch somewhere that I gotta flip through. And you know, and even I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit if for like cross posting and stuff like that. If you're cross
mhm.
listing on different websites, you can easily see how many you have. Like part of my custom SKU is how many. Like if I had multiple quantities, I could easily just go pull that listing from the other websites just to make sure like it's not double buyed.
Yeah. Is there are you linking this with like a spreadsheet? So we talked about your inventory control and you have everything set up, but do you take it a step further and have a spreadsheet where you're keeping an account of everything that comes in and goes out?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a really large Excel spreadsheet. Um, I have one tab for all my inventory, all my current inventory at least. When you know, I have this spreadsheet is huge. The inventory tab I think goes from column A to Q or something like that, and then once an item sells, I copy and paste the whole row over to the monthly sales tab. So we're in December right now. I'll go to the December sales tab, paste all that info, and there's another, I don't know, 15 columns there for um, the buy or the sell price, all the different fees, whether or not the buyer paid sales tax, what state they were in.
Mhm.
Um, so I got different columns for Amazon fees, eBay, PayPal, all those different platforms. And I mean, yeah, the sales tabs they go from I think column A to AO or AL or something like that. It's a huge spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's that sounds intimidating for me, and I
I'm a
love
spreadsheet
Excel.
guy though, so I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I love my spreadsheet, and it really helps out, because you got to know what you're pricing your product and what you're willing to make and what the percentages look like. So
Yeah.
for me, my spreadsheet, it does all the math for me. I do my eBay fees and my PayPal fees, and roughly every platform is doing roughly very similar from
Hmm.
like with PayPal, I would say like 12-ish to 13-ish,
Yeah.
depending, but I'm really big into the shipping cost. That's been one of my big focal points for my business is how can I lower the shipping? Because as time goes on, Dapper Fanatic, shipping is going to go up in price. And I think I got an email that the post office is raising their prices from priority to, first class. So that's something
Oh,
that as resellers, we gotta factor in.
when does that go into effect? I don't remember seeing that.
I think 2020, I don't know if I read it somewhere on Google, but somewhere it did talk about, prices are going up.
Okay, I'll have to look.
So, yeah. Now, we talked inventory, we talked spreadsheet as far as you're managing what comes in and out. How about the shipping aspect? Do you have a station dedicated in your home that's for shipping?
Yeah, in my work area, I have two desks, or a desk and a table. They're right next to each other. One's for the photos. It's got the backdrop behind it, and then the one next to it is for like the packaging up. Um, I have a little scale there. I bought a scale. This was many, many years ago. Um, it was probably $20 or $30. I think it's one that's approved by USPS. I think it
Mhm.
goes up to like 40 pounds or something like that. Um, so I use that. I have rolls and rolls of packaging tape um, and boxes. Uh, I don't know about you, but outside of getting free boxes from the post office,
Mhm.
you can go on USPS.com and order different sizes too, because not all the post offices carry like all the sizes available. But I get boxes from everywhere. From work, there's tons of free boxes I can grab.
Mhm.
Any sort of online shipment that comes to the house, I save the box. I mean, literally 2 days ago, I think I used a Keurig box that I've had for 4 or 5 years, and it's just been sitting down in the basement. Literally, this was a perfect size box for something that I had to ship, and like I probably have 40 boxes downstairs just sitting there.
Yeah. If I had a basement, I would do that on the West Coast. My wife, that doesn't fly. She's like, if you're not going to use it within 30 days, you need to throw it in the trash. So she's pretty hardcore. Shout out to my wife. I love you. But
my
yeah,
my wife's a little more lenient.
every household is different, but for the most part, we do order a lot of Amazon, so we do try to save those to see like, can
Yeah.
I fit a shoe or can I fit a small item? But I do
Eh,
like the Walmart boxes the most, the small.
I mean, honestly, I think the only boxes I've ever paid for were when I was starting StockX and Goat. I had to get a, a consistent sized box.
Mhm.
I think I went with like 16 by 10 by 6 or something like that. And
That
I
sounds right.
got, yeah, I think I got 25 or 30 of them the first time. And I mean, that's a perfect size for sending something that way because you can't use a priority box if you're going to those two places. They only use UPS. They don't allow USPS as far as I know.
Yeah, and it's also against the law to use a USPS box for any other carrier.
Yeah, well,
So
now
yeah,
they got smart. This was probably around a decade ago. They got smart and started printing USPS on the inside of their
yeah.
boxes most of the time. Before that, they weren't. So you'd have people cutting one of the corners, flipping the box on the
Mhm.
inside out, and then retaping it and reshaping it back up. And right then and there, it just becomes a brown box instead.
Yeah, and you want to be careful. For me, when I started doing what you're talking about, the Go and Stock X, I took that priority box to the post office. I mean, not to the post office, to the UPS store, and the guy's like, "Hey, man, like, you can't be doing this." He's like, "If a postman sees your package and it has a UPS label, they have the right to seize
Oh,
that package." And
wow.
yeah, and then you're on a whole new level, man. Now you're messing with the government. This is your hustle. You want to get that sale. You don't want to get penalized. So for me, I just said I'm not going to risk it. I'll pay 75 cents to $1.50 and I'll get a box because I don't want these problems where am I worried that the next person is not going to get it or it's going to get confused with,
Yeah,
UPS or FedEx during their process. So
yeah,
yeah, I think if people are doing that, you might want to look into it, but it's totally your call. You do whatever you want.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do it. That's for sure. That could even be a federal offense.
Yeah,
I, I don't know.
yeah,
You
you
could
don't
go
want
to
to end
jail. You could go to jail flipping a flipping inside out a USPS box.
Yeah, not definitely not worth it. So, Rob, what motivated you to get started in reselling?
Um, just extra cash, really. Um, it turned in, or it started. I wanted a little extra on the side. Um, Now that I've almost completed a full year, it's kind of evolved a little bit. Um, I kind of now use it to increase my retirement a little bit. So on from my professional job, from my full-time job, I've increased the percentage that I contribute to our 401k. Now, that being said, I haven't taken any money out of my side business yet either. I've just been rolling over all that money. All those sales that I've made year to date have just kept rolling over and doubling up and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like I've specifically made any money, like I haven't taken anything out of the business yet. But I mean, I don't know.
So the extra money, because I'm in a similar situation as you. I'm a working professional. I do this part time, but for me, it's like now I want to pay bills, or I have a small student loan. I have an extra car payment. I want to speed up the process.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
extra money, I do want to send an extra 100, 200, 300 on these bills, so there could be some financial freedom. Because I mean, if you could live your life without a mortgage payment, without a car payment, a credit card payment, I mean, it's phenomenal, the cash flow. So you're telling us that this money is solely for your retirement so you can have a nice nest egg. Would that be accurate?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it would also be nice if this turned into a full-time thing instead. It would be great to have the flexibility. My current job, I work 40 miles away. It takes around an hour, maybe a little more commute each way. So if something happens here at home to my wife or my son, I'm an hour away.
Mm.
I'm not going to do much good. having that flexibility, being closer to home or working from home, if this was a full-time job, that would be ideal. But right now, the income, I I'm not going to go that route until I can replace my current level of income, and it's nowhere close at this
Yeah.
point. Since I'm only part-time, I only have maybe 150 current listings at this point. I'd have to get up to at least 1,000, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was talking to another reseller for the other segment that I'm working on, finding solutions, and he has roughly 700 items, and it's his full-time job, but now he wants to bring on an employee. So there comes a point where part-time to full-time. I mean, there's some killers out there, man, that are part-time,
Yeah,
and they got a lot of items. Like if they're doing it full-time, and God bless them that the people that can do it, but that's just something that I can't do it. Not that
I
I'm saying I don't want to do it as well.
yeah, I mean, I I value my son's only 15 months old, so I have a relatively young. I mean, my wife and I, we've been married for over 10 years now. So it's not like we have a young family since her and I have been together for so long, but we do have a
Mhm,
young son that I do want to spend time with.
mhm.
So that I value more as a priority than taking time to do the sourcing or to do the listing, that kind of stuff. So I feel like at the moment, as a part-time reseller, 150, maybe 200 is probably my max around right now. 200 listings or so. If I was going to go any higher than that, I'd probably feel like I'm underwater.
Yeah, what's cool as your kid gets older, one thing that I do with some of the earnings from the business, I'll pay for a haircut. Maybe he might want a Happy Meal. I'll put that on the business PayPal, or maybe I want to spoil him and get him a toy. And it just feels good that you sold something to buy something else, and it didn't come out of your professional job or what you do full time. So that aspect of reselling, I really enjoy, and if it feels good, or buying clothes or whatever. So I think a lot of people that are interested in getting into reselling, the extra money does help out. It might go
Yeah.
towards a utility bill, it might go towards clothes, tuition. I mean, there's a lot of resellers out there that just do it for certain reasons, and
Mm.
it's great. So what platforms are you currently selling on?
Basically everything goes on eBay. I also sell on StockX, Goat. I have a few things on Mercari, a few things on Poshmark. Um, Amazon, I'm trying to get into Amazon a little bit. I started back in September. That's it's a little slow going now that we're coming up on Christmas. Um, that's a whole nother monster between getting or being gated and getting ungated. Um, there's one other platform. It's called Bonanza. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Bonanza is nice. I've literally only had two sales this year on Bonanza, but it's nice because it syncs up with your eBay store. So
Oh,
anything
wow.
you put on eBay automatically goes onto Bonanza.
So if you have 100 plus items on eBay right now, your Bonanza, I hope I'm saying it right, has the
Yeah,
same amount.
yeah, it should. You might have to get, sometimes you have to go in there and approve certain listings because they do like some Google Analytics and stuff like that, and you may have to tweak part of your description to meet the Google standards. But yeah, it basically syncs right up, and they only do fixed price listings on Bonanza. They don't allow auctions on that website, as far as I know.
Okay, that's pretty good. What is your business model look like right now?
I think, I mean, I would love to get a double up every single time, but it also depends on what you're buying and where you're buying it. You know, like if you're doing thrifting, if you're getting items for $2, $3, you probably want to make at least 20 or 30 on those items. So that's a dollar amount. That's not necessarily a percentage.
Hmm.
But if you're going to like Ross, Burlington, TJ Maxx, those kinds of stores, um, that's where you want your double up, at least a double up. no matter the price. But then again, if you're getting new releases, you know,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the week, brand new shoes that are costing $150, $200, $220, more than likely you're not going to get a double up unless they're like Travis Scott's or something like that.
Right, right.
So in those cases, you might be happy with $50.
Yeah,
I,
it's all situational.
yeah, I've actually started shying away from doing the new release shoes just because the margins are so small. I mean, I'm not gonna, I've taken so many L's on different new releases
Yeah.
that it's not worth my time for one thing. And the stuff that I can get, it's just lowballers galore, or there's unlimited stock. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not worth it to me to go that route with brand new releases.
Yeah, I mean, this is the beauty about reselling is that everybody has a different business approach. Everybody values their time different. Especially for a working professional, you know, you're I for me, a shoe gets dropped at 7 a.m. And for a lot of people on the West Coast, they're on the freeway going to work. So it just really depends if that
Yeah.
shoe's worth it or not. But I mean, for me, that's something that I'm trying to add to my tool belt is that if I can get one hype sneaker a month and add an extra, you know, whatever it might be, like 40, $50, that's not bad because it's online. You didn't have to travel nowhere. You just kind of your thumbs are just pressing this device and you get something that's like 40, $50, which is it's not bad, but it's not like that every time. I got the Jordan
No.
11s on the shock drop, and I think I only made like 20, $25, and this item cost me 220 plus tax. Now, you're not always going to hit a home run, but I think that was not even a base hit. That was more like it was a walk.
Yeah, I mean, if you're paying 220 plus tax, what's the tax out in California? Like 8 or 9% probably.
It depends where you're at, but like 8.5, I would
Yeah.
say is average.
So, I mean, in order for you to make a solid $50, you're gonna have to sell that for probably like 325, 350, and then take away all the fees from whatever platform and maybe shipping if it's eBay and
Yeah, it's not,
it,
it didn't work out. So, but that's just something about you. You just got to learn as you go. You're not always going to have a W. Reselling is not always going to be easy peasy, but you just
yeah.
got to see what's worth it for you. And then just kind of take it from there. Now, earlier, I think this is going to relate to your business model, but earlier you were saying that reselling has helped you put extra money in your contribution for your 401k and that you don't draw from it. You just keep on reinvesting. How much did you start off with reselling?
I had a many years ago. This was I don't know, maybe 4 years ago. I was laid off from a job, and I got a severance package. I was there for probably 8 years before that. So you basically got 8 weeks salary whenever you were
Hmm.
laid off, 1 week for every year. So I never actually touched that money. I was only on unemployment for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I got a job almost immediately, so I never actually had to touch that money. It's just been sitting in my bank account. What I ended up doing is taking $3,000 and starting. That's what I used as my seed money for the Dapper Fanatic.
Hmm.
And my goal for the first year, or we're near the end of the first year here, was just to make my money back as a net profit, which would basically have been a double up at that
Hmm.
point. Um, I've more than exceeded that for sure, but I don't necessarily need to have that money back either. So that's why I just keep rolling it over and rolling it over.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's how you level up as well. For me, I've took a different approach. I've kind of drawn for it. So, I did start the podcast, so I told myself like I don't have a computer. I got to buy a computer. So for me, I'm using the money from the business to reinvest, and it's not reselling, but it's also contributing to reselling. So for me, that's perfect. But if you're going to just draw from the business to take a nice vacation, if that's your goal, great. But if you want to level up and grow and scale, you're going to have to reinvest it. And
Yeah.
I think, that's key for resellers that say, man, I want to go to the next level. Well, what are you doing with the money? For me, when I sell something, that gives me an opportunity to now buy some goods and be patient with those because
Mhm.
it's paid for. And so that's what I'm currently doing right now. That's my mindset. I sell a product. If I make $80 profit, I can buy 4 soccer cleats. And now with those soccer cleats, I can be patient and not feel like I gotta sell this. I'm gonna take a low ball offer. It's like, no, no, no. Let me just kind of settle in. And when I sell it for max, I sell it for max. And so I think that's key for a lot of resellers out there.
Yeah, I mean, you basically got your initial buy cost back, and then you're using
Mhm.
all that $80 as profit. Like you said, with whatever you buy for that, you can just stay patient. I mean, as long as you have enough listings on whatever platform you're using, and as long as you're continually sourcing at least a few items a week, you can remain patient because some of your items are going to sell quickly, so you're going to keep having that cash come in. Other
Mhm.
items, you're going to be patient on, or you're going to wait for the exact price that you want. And when that happens, boom, you got extra money. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, what's in your inventory right now? What are you currently selling? What does it look like?
it's mostly shoes, a lot of men's basketball, and like lifestyle shoes, casual shoes. I have some stuff that I thrifted, you know, um, some jeans, some shirts, like some button down shirts and stuff like that. Those ended up not doing very well. I've had them, I don't know, over 6 months. Um, I got a lot of football gloves still, some socks. What else? Some jackets, a few jerseys. I kind of shied away from jerseys as I got more into shoes, but I
Hmm.
want to get back into jerseys. They're just harder to find. There's so many fakes out there, so it's harder to find some of those vintage authentics because they've either been bought up already, or just the prices are astronomical. But yeah, even on Amazon, I've primarily done socks and toys, like board games and figures and stuff like that.
Man, so you're just trying pretty much whatever sells, whatever
Yeah,
makes money, you're gonna use
yeah.
it to make
If I
money.
can make money on it, I will try to sell it. I'm gonna shy away from something that's like super awkward to ship, at least for now.
Hmm.
Like a huge item or something that's like really heavy, like a 40-pound item, just because I don't want to deal with it. But if it's small, or if I can easily fit it into like a small box or a flat rate envelope or something like that, I'm definitely going to attempt to sell it.
Yeah, on your eBay store, do you allow returns?
I do. Um, at the start of the year, I was doing. I've always been allowing returns this year, but at the start of the year, I was doing buyer had to pay for the return.
Hmm.
I've recently switched to seller pays return fees. I haven't really seen a difference. I've only had one total return this
Hmm.
year, and that was after I made the switch, so I had to pony up the shipping fees for them to send it back to me. Um, but I do allow them. I mean, I think I've sold close to 300 items this year, and only one return so far, so I think that's a pretty good ratio. That I don't mind eating the cost for that one person, that one return.
Yeah, and I noticed that you have a lot in feedback. It was like 11 something. I can't remember the exact number, but
I think, yeah, 1177, I think, as it
there
stands right
there you
now.
go. Yeah, 1177. For people that are listening, this is always a good topic on Instagram, but how do you get people to leave positive feedback?
Uh, you can only try so hard.
Mhm.
Um, I think in the eBay communication settings, there's a few things in there that you can set to automatically send an email, like when the shipping label is printed or when the tracking number is available, that kind of stuff. I also um, insert into every single one of my packages. I print it out with like my logo, like a little sentence or two saying, thanks for your purchase. If you're not satisfied, please, reach out to me, see if we can come to some sort of agreement. And also, please make sure to leave feedback. It doesn't always work. I probably, out of, I think I said around 300 sales so far this year, I think I've probably only had maybe 50 or 60 leave feedback. Like, it's a super low percentage. I wish eBay held buyers more accountable with feedback, because as a seller, I leave feedback for every single transaction.
Yeah.
I wish eBay would kind of maybe not force buyers to leave feedback, but I feel it's necessary to get that positive or neutral or negative if it comes to it. But I want to know how I'm doing, So
Yeah.
I would prefer to at least get some sort of feedback, even if it is negative, then I could correct a process or a method or something that I've done wrong. I could correct it for the future going forward.
Yeah, I noticed that I used to have when I first started on eBay, I had a picture of myself and I have American flag in the background of my picture. And
Yeah.
then I switched it to just my logo that I was talking about earlier that my buddy made, and then my feedback went down. I didn't get as many. And then I recently changed it to a picture of myself and it went up again. So it's almost, there might be a psychological aspect that people feel when they see another human being, there's some type of obligation. But I saw an increase and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is great, because for a while with my logo, I wasn't getting anything. And maybe there wasn't a connection that the other person felt, the buyer.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Maybe that was some sort of psychological thing on their end, but even like my eBay username has the LLC in it, so
Mhm.
maybe they think, it's just the company. That I don't need to leave them feedback or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, some people might feel like that, and there's people that are anti-corporation or anti-big, whatever it is. But some people have that connection with like a mom and pops. Like when I lived in a small town in Central California, I enjoyed shopping at just a mom and pop's market grocery store. I
Mhm.
felt like it was better service. Now the pricing wasn't as great, but I felt that the quality, what I was getting was there. But it felt better than shopping at like a big food chain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
everybody's different. It is what it is. So, Damper Fanatic, have you taken any L's this year?
yes.
Tell us.
um, so out of I had out of actual sales, there were earlier in the year, I bought some soccer jerseys. I think they were Barcelona Vapor Match jerseys. So basically the same thing that they would wear on the pitch. I
Mhm.
think I, I think I paid maybe $70 or $80 each for them. And by the time I sold them months later, it I had two of them. It was a net loss of like $40. I mean, it's not a
Mhm.
lot. It's still a loss. Um, there's a few things that I haven't sold. Like literally back in January when I first started sourcing, I went to Nordstrom Rack and Saks Off Fifth. There's two close by my house here.
Mhm.
I did not do any research, which was a problem. I ended up buying some Hugo Boss button-down shirts, four of them, and three like Polo Ralph Lauren shirts. Um, I think I've sold one out of those seven things,
Oh
and
wow.
I think right now it's close to $400 that I have into those items, and they haven't sold. We're coming up on close to 11 months later. I know I'm probably not even going to make $200 on the actual sale, which means I'm going to lose over $200 whenever they do finally sell.
Yeah. So what'd you learn from that? What was the takeaway?
What I learned is to stop going to Nordstrom Rack and Saks Off Fifth for one thing. Also also to download the eBay app, which I did a short time after that, and do the research, look up those items. I don't remember if they have particular style codes or any sort of serial numbers that would have helped me. Um, but I definitely at least would have seen like, hey, Hugo Boss dress shirts or button-down casual
Mm.
shirts aren't selling very well. Maybe I could get $30 for it. I don't think I should pay 80. So
Hey,
yeah, I definitely do the research now. I don't come across any of those types of purchases. I definitely stay away from those.
awesome, awesome. And then how about a W? What's your biggest win this year, 2019?
That's an easy one. I it was the Jordan 1 SP Gina shoe. Came out, I think it was the end of May. Um, I found it at Ross
Oh
before
wow.
it released. I don't know how. I was there. It was a weeknight. Um, I just happened to go at the right time. Basically,
Yeah.
I got it. I took a picture, looked at the comps, and I'm like, this shoe hasn't even come out yet. How's this possible?
Yeah.
And like it was coming out that following weekend. It was being released at, I think it was Shoe Palace. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Shoe Palace sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was being released only at the Shoe Palace that weekend. So I was like, I obviously have to buy this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's legit or not, but I have to buy it. And that was a size 13. I think I paid $50 for it, and I sold it for $350.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What
that
platform did you sell it on?
that was on eBay. That was before. So that I guess that was the end of May. That was before I even started with StockX and Goat. So I was only on eBay at the time.
Oh wow.
Sold it
Yeah.
on eBay
Yeah.
because I bought it at Ross. It didn't have the keychain. I think it came with a keychain, and it definitely came with like instead of like a regular shoebox, like a cardboard shoebox, it was supposed to come with a lunchbox, like a metal little
Mm.
lunchbox or a lunch pail. It definitely did not have either of those things because it was at Ross. It just had the extra laces. And when the buyer got it, he was actually out in California. When he got it, he sent me an email and said, "Where's the shoebox?" And I was like, there is no shoebox. Check the listing.
Hmm.
And yeah, I got lucky. He didn't feel like returning it, so that was nice. Made a nice chunk of money on that.
Nice. Nice. No, that's a great W. I think 2020 is going to be even better. I think for not only you, me, but a lot of people because we're learning so much now and things are
Yeah.
getting better. So yeah, 2020, man, let's have a great year. So I'm doing something new,
Mhm.
Rob, as far as in the podcast. I call it rapid fire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say a word and then you tell me what comes to mind. It could be word, sentence, whatever you want, okay?
Yeah,
We'll have
I'm gonna try to keep this. I don't want one of those little explicit tags on your podcast. I'm gonna try to keep this family friendly here.
Okay, let's do this one. eBay.
Um, Old school. It's been around so long. It it's like the dinosaur basically at this time at this day and age compared to some of the newer platforms.
Yeah. How about Go?
Amazing. Goat has been the fact that you can sell used shoes on Goat has been amazing because that opens up that means I don't just have to use eBay for those. And
Mhm.
I feel like on Goat there's not as many lowballers either compared to like eBay or StockX. I don't know why. It feels like there's not as many lowballers and I get solid sales out of Goat.
Awesome, awesome. How about StockX?
Lowball Central, death by dollars, down death to the basement.
Race to the bottom. How
Yeah.
about?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say any new release or any shoe that's popular, if you have it, make sure to turn off your StockX notifications. You you do not want a notification every 5 minutes about oh you're no longer the high price, or you've been outbid, or the lowest ask, whatever it's called, and they go $1 at a time literally on StockX. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's silly. How about Poshmark?
It's too social for me. I just started Instagram this year, halfway through the year, with this TheDapperFanatic thing, and at the same time I started Poshmark. And for one thing, I I don't want to I don't wanna do all that sharing. I don't want to be on Poshmark or the app on my phone all day, every day. I don't want to share stuff. I don't want to, be social or attend these little parties or whatever they're called, or posh parties. Um, So that's one of the main reasons why I have very limited inventory on Poshmark as it is. And I feel like they send a lot of lowball offers too. Like you might have something up for like $80 and they'll be like, hey, I'll pay 20. I mean, at least on eBay, you can block those kind of things. Like you can at least set a reserve, like in auto decline for a best offer. But on Poshmark, I don't think you can.
How about Mercari?
Uh, Great for sourcing, actually. I similar to Poshmark, I don't have a whole lot of things listed on Mercari, but I do source a lot of stuff on Mercari. A lot of used shoes, a lot of jerseys, that kind of stuff. There's people on there that I guess either they don't know what they have, or they're buying it at a thrift store and saying, "Hey, maybe I'll make 20 bucks, but yeah, okay, I'll buy that for $20, but I'm gonna sell it for $120."
Mm-hmm.
So I use Mercari a lot to source, and it's been pretty good.
Yeah. How about OfferUp?
I don't know. I don't use OfferUp. Never have. If it's anything like what's that other one? Let Go or Let It Go or
Yeah.
something. I I tried to use that once on just some household items, like stuff that I was going to sell at a garage sale. I swear they use bots or something like that on Let Go, because you'll put something up and immediately you're going to get like two or three messages. Hey, is this still available? And yeah, of course it is. I just posted it. And then you'll be like, yeah, um, let's meet up. Or I'm going to pay full price. Then you'll respond back, and then they just ghost you. So I feel like at least Let Go or Let It Go. I don't know what it's called. Um, I feel like they probably have a lot of bots working for them and sending messages. So I don't know if OfferUp is similar or not like that.
Yeah,
Do you use
it's a
OfferUp?
variation. Yeah, I use OfferUp. We use it for like large household items, and then they have a shipping platform. And I've sold a couple things, but whatever I've sold on there, I always get my asking price. So it's great. Sometimes I made more money on selling on that platform for an item than eBay. So I mean, everybody's different, and I like it. But you do get those. Hey, is this available? Like 10
Yeah.
times.
I mean, do you get like a lot of spam messages or anything?
I don't know. My wife handles the account for me,
Okay.
but I'll ask her and then I'll send you a DM.
Okay.
Where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. It's the Dapper Fanatic on IG.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you send
Awesome.
me a DM, I will respond. Or if you tag me in anything, I'll like it or comment or anything like that. If you're nice enough, maybe I'll even give you my Gmail email account too.
There you go. Be nice to him, people. He's a good guy. Last question. What have you learned this year?
um, Definitely do the research. I don't want to run into another Hugo Boss or Polo Ralph Lauren purchase that I'm sitting on and I'm going to lose full value basically by the time it sells. Um, Also, that custom SKU on eBay is definitely, if you want to get organized and get your inventory under control, or you want a quick reference how much you paid for an item, that's something you definitely want to start using if you're not already. Um, Patience. I've learned to be more patient as my business has grown. Um, Lastly, Amazon FBA. You could be ungated one day, gated the next day. I found out. I bought some games, some Monopoly games that when I was in store, I think it was at TJ Maxx. When I was in store, I was good. By the time I got home, I actually waited probably 3 or 4 days before I was going to send them in. Within that 3 or 4 days, I was gated. I couldn't send them to Amazon. And by that time, I'd already removed the price tags, taken them off, thrown them out. So now I'm just sitting on the product. I have them on eBay, but maybe when the holidays are over, I'll become ungated again. Then I can send them to Amazon. It kind of felt like as soon as November hit, some of my ability to send stuff to Amazon was gated, I guess.
Yeah, keep us posted on that, or if you can post something on your Instagram, that'll be pretty cool for the people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Hasbro stuff, maybe some,
Mattel.
um, yeah, Mattel. Yeah, it was mostly like toys and board games, that kind of stuff. So I have a small little inventory, small little corner of the basement, just kind of waiting in reserve until I become ungated again on those kind of items.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was talking to a reseller today, and he had mentioned that there's a possibility that you can get ungated. You can become gated and then ungated. I don't know too much because I'm not on Amazon FBA and have no desire to, but I think that's for a whole, another episode. But it's definitely
Yeah,
interesting.
that's kind of I only started Amazon back in September, so I was starting out small with small things like socks and stuff like that. And books would be another good thing, like used books. Um, I heard somewhere that if you get up to like 100 or 200 completed sales and stuff like that, you'll start to unlock different brands. And I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of why I was starting small with stuff that I was at least able to sell. But like I said, that could change from one day to the next, basically.
Yeah, a reseller's journey, man.
Yeah, exactly.
The Damper Fanatic, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had fun. Thank you very much for asking me to do it.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Also, want to thank the audience for tuning in. You can find today's guests on Instagram at TheDapperFanatic. You can visit the show's website at aresellersjourney.com, where you can find a link to my Instagram at eBay Joey and the show at A Reseller's Journey. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Remember, never forget why you started.